Yes.
No breakfast. Just happy.
Look at you. When you're in the midst of the breakfast queue.
Please, good morning, locker room people, Jerry.
Lagos, send us messages through WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp number is 0801 444 080.
0809.
That's right, 0809 444
It's happiness that is doing
It's the one.
Valentine. You can also send a tweet to us, of course, at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag LockerRoom981. We are streaming live on Twitter. So if you'd like to, not just listen to our voices, but watch us as well and be a part of the action
On YouTube.
And on YouTube. Oh, that's what I said?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
All right, youtube.com/smooth981FM.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go straight into our first story for today. We're looking at some sporting stories today.
All right.
So our first story here says, Dog brushes off Lakers link. We start off in basketball. I'm going nowhere. LA Clippers head coach Doc Rivers ended any speculation about him coaching elsewhere after the season by revealing that he and the Clippers verbally agreed to a longer-term contract extension earlier this season. So this is what he said they're doing. They're not on YouTube, sorry. All right, responding to a question about his potential candidacy for the Los Angeles Lakers job if they make a change from Luke Walton following a disappointing season, Rivers shut down any idea of him moving within the Staples Center and to LA's other NBA team. This is what he had to say. Well, I have a job and the Lakers have a coach. Number one, I am going nowhere. He said this before the Clippers 115-109 win against the Indiana Pacers yesterday night. And he continues saying, I can tell you that straight and upfront, I'm going to be here until Steve, that's the Clippers owner, says, get out. I plan on being here a long time.
Yeah, he could say get out tomorrow, so there's hope. The thing about it's so interesting that he thinks that because he said he's not interested, that people will stop talking about it, rumors will stop swirling. But it is once the Lakers missed out on the playoff spot, they're going to, Luke Walton, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy and not a bad coach, but ultimately, there was that stint he stood in for Steve Kerr, but ultimately, when you're talking about coaches with pedigree, it's not, Luke Walton is not the guy. So with all the stories about Lakers making the transfers and not getting the much desired playoffs, they'd also been wanting to get a coach, if you ask me, with some, pedigree. Okay. There's nothing wrong in asking was Doc Rivers to move from. He's not leaving LA. He's just moving from one end of the court to the other. And he's on the Lakers team. This is a guy that has won won the NBA playoffs with the NBA championship with the Celtics. He's taking his teams to several trips in the playoffs. He's also taking the other team, LA Clippers, to the playoffs. And telling me that rumors will stop swelling. Oh God, they are going to continue disturbing you until they feel in the sport. So don't think that your answer is no. And it's a verbal agreement that you had with Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
Oh God, even written ones have been, changed. You're talking of verbal one. Travel.
It was a full house on Tuesday as the Super Eagles began their first training session ahead of the 2019 African Cup of Nations AFCON final qualifying match against Seychelles. All the 23 invited players have now reported to camp and took part in the team's first training session at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba, Delta State. They take on the Pirates of Seychelles at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba on Friday, that's this Friday, by 4 p.m. and then play an international friendly against the Pharaohs of Egypt on March 26th at the same venue.
Yeah.
It seems like we should visit Asaba this month.
Asaba is the place to be.
Like,
I was telling people during Asaba 2018, this place, they are going to use it well. And they are. So the last qualifier, which is pretty much of no consequence apart from let's see which other new boys we can put into this team. If you ask me, that's what it should be about. It's going to take place on Friday, and so of course, you could see the pictures of the players when they're coming in for national duty with their different outfits, showing you the rappers lifestyle, the basketball lifestyle. I was like, okay, this is what I'm coming here to groove.
Yes, I know.
But there's really no pressures on them for these games. So I think they're just going to have I mean, even the atmosphere I'm hearing from camp is very smooth and very lively. There's no tension. They've qualified. There's nothing. It doesn't even look like a test, not of an exam. So it's a pretty good mood. But if you ask me, this should be very important for the coach. I think when you're looking at going for a competition later in the year, and you have all these FIFA breaks, in as much as you want to make everybody to be happy and keep the atmosphere merry, you have to let them know you're trying to qualify to get on my team. Because it seems some people know that their spot is settled. Barring injury, we are going to Egypt. So you need to shake up something, discover one or two people and say, perhaps. And then just like that, the mood, people start taking it a little more seriously. But what it is that a lot of players are thinking they're already on the first flight.
Very confident.
The rest of whose boss they are going to take to join us. So
No, that's not
I
nice.
think no, look, if you help the coach to qualify, chances are he's going to pick you. It's not negotiable because coaches are comfortable with certain players, and once those players are available, they will take them. But I still think, I mean, with games like this, you have to look for, because you never know what is going to happen between now and June.
Okay.
Form may change, injuries may come. Just get back up.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that very pleasant news. All right. Now, going into the world from Nigerian football, we move on to boxing. We haven't actually had boxing in a while. Okay. So, Undisputed title fight handed fresh hope. Now, Deontay Wilder reiterated his desire to face Anthony Joshua and claimed that cooperation is the key to sealing the Undisputed World Heavyweight title fight. Wilder must first defend his WBC belt against Dominic Breazeale on May 18 before Joshua puts the IBF, WBA and WBO gold on the line against Jarrell Big Baby Miller on June 1. We need to see our champion, our one face, one name. It's a mighty task to getting that complete. It takes cooperation with a lot of people to make that happen. Wilder said this about Joshua. He then said, everybody wants to see the big fight, but there are certain things we need to do. Breazeale is the mandatory one fight, one step at a time.
Yes. At every point in time, somebody is using one fight to plug in another fight, just to make certain things happen. But what it is, even the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight, that rematch that they claimed was going to happen, even talks with that broke down. So there's a lot of money to be made, and people that are not satisfied that it's making all this, the fights you actually want to see that are not happening, is caused by all this money and all these disagreements. So, and I know that there's some, you have to defend your title with different bouts every now and then, but I think boxing should make it interesting, the same way they threw in these multiple belts to make boxing, heavyweight boxing, a little more interesting. They should start throwing one or two big mandatory fights. Like, it should be mandatory that you defend. We want to unify these belts, so it is
you hold on to the belt for maybe 6 months.
Yes, and then with mandatory, we must unify the belt. Oh yeah, you fight you, and so there'll be no these sorts of negotiation on who's going to take 50% or 60% of the post will not be there. I want to see a mandatory bout that is, it's not just a defense of a title, maybe a unification of a belt, and so it is two major fighters that are involved. That would be more interesting. But I mean, look at it. Anthony Joshua's already beaten Dominic Breazeale, and then he wants Deontay Wilder to finish him off. That's all we are going to be watching. You're going to be watching people just brushing the other people instead of watching a good fight that you don't know which way is going to tilt at the end of the day. That's what we want to see. So yes, maybe we will watch Deontay Wilder and see whether he can do it against Dominic Breazeale the same way Anthony Joshua defeated him, Dominic Breazeale. We also want to see what Anthony Joshua is going to do to Big Baby on June 1st. But ultimately, the fights that will catch interest, it's the one that gave himself name. Ultimately, the fights that will catch that will hold our attention is when you start saying things like Tyson Fury versus Joshua. Everybody will all rush to the place, enter the place, and you understand. That's what we want to see.
All right, Lagos, join the conversation by sending us messages to WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. We have to take a break. You're still listening to Locker Room here as part of Smooth Breakfast with Ayo.
And Valentine.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a short break.
It's
What?
fine.
It's
It's
a
a break.
short break.
Yes.
Are we mentioning Kwesi today?
No,
No, it's done.
it's 8 weeks. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, but we have.
Not today, not today.
Okay, not today.
It's 8 long weeks. And we may not mention it on Friday because there's no EPL on Friday because it's FIFA break.
Okay.
So till next week.
Yeah.
Interesting. How did they cause the death? Ah.
And we are back. We're back on the Locker Room, Lagos. If you're listening, this is Smooth 98.1. Sharing more stories. Still reminding you that you could add the hashtag to your messages on Twitter at Smooth981FM. Use that hashtag Locker Room 981 so we can see them. We will take your messages as we progress, but let's look at this next story. A record 9 countries have told FIFA that they want to host the 2023 Women's World Cup.
Wow.
Argentina, Australia, Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Japan, New Zealand, and South Africa have formally declared their interest. Now, a joint bid for the tournament could also be made by North and South Korea. Interesting. Now, World Football's governing body said each football association had until 16th of April this year to submit its bidding registration. In a statement, they said, and I read the quote, FIFA will implement a fair and transparent process which will include a clear evaluation model as well as a concrete commitment to sustainability and human rights. The result of each ballot and related votes by the members of the FIFA Council will be open and made public.
Yes. As opposed to the 2021 Women's World Cup bid, that it was only England that put up their hands when they asked who was going to host the Women's World Cup.
You have to think of
Yeah.
how much money
This
do you have?
year is 9. It just shows you how women's football have grown around the world.
Yes.
So I mean, from just one person bidding for 2021 to 9 countries now saying, please bring it, we need it here. So the interest, of course, I say this thing about people, it's not that the customers aren't there for women's football, it's that the marketing and packaging and the visibility given to it have not been there. Nobody has put in any effort or any investment, and that's why it is the way it is. But you look at the Spanish La Liga, they've put in investment, and last week it was Barcelona playing against, I can't remember who, maybe Athletic Bilbao or Atletico Madrid, where Seth scored her goal. There were 60,000 people at the stadium to watch. This week, England is supposed to be playing against Canada.
Yeah.
And the stadium was sold out, 7,000 capacity, sold out for £10. So you think about our Super Eagles, where sometimes we throw open the gates.
Yeah.
Was it the Barcelona and Lyon match we're talking about?
No,
After that.
Barcelona and Lyon is men. We are talking about
women.
women's football. Women's football.
Okay.
Because you can get a bit confused, because again with Europe, in Europe they're trying to do these things where they don't say where it used to be. It used to be Manchester City. Ladies, they'll put it out there, but now they just say Manchester City versus.
Right, because indeed for the men you don't say Manchester City
men,
football.
yeah, because
okay.
you just naturally assume that it's going to be men.
Okay.
So they're trying to do these things, but what this is that with the La Liga, with English football, there's a deliberate investment, deliberate news percentage of news coverage that you must give to women's football. Everything is done deliberately. There's that investment, and then there are those ticket sales, and you're looking at, yes, only 7,000 people are going to be at the stadium for England, Canada, and the tickets were really only £10. Then you think about it, companies are looking at it that there are 7,000 people there that need to buy my product, and then they start putting billboards. So at the end of the day, you're now thinking women's football has started to make money because people have started to invest in it. So women's football is growing. So those 9 people, they are going to be desperately, because they know people are coming. The sales of tickets for for some of the matches with the Women's World Cup this June, sold out. So if you have
That's
any, yeah, if you have
fantastic
any hope of going, you better be going as press. Oh yeah,
I'm
well,
not going to be there.
well, get second-hand tickets. It's pretty close to LIS, but we'll work something out.
Oh, brilliant.
It's
We look
pretty
forward to
close,
seeing
but-
you on our screens.
Yeah.
Well, this is hi Tega. Oh, please,
CVU.
CVU. All right. I wanted to
From
say that it
Ghana.
wasn't it wasn't
Oh.
a company. CVU. Hi Tega. I always love your voice. Just to find out if the Nigeria's Friday game will air on DSTV. So that's CVU listening from Ghana.
From Ghana. Thank you for sending the messages from Ghana, CVU, and thanks for listening. Chimubi Victor from Alaba International sent in this message. It says, Tega, the match you're talking about is Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Where our own Asisat Oshoala stepped up.
I'm so proud of
I
her.
love it. And that match was played on the 17th of March. That was on Sunday.
On Sunday. All right. Okay, so moving on, and we go to Nations League victory, saying it would eclipse World Cup semi-final, says England's Harry Kane. England winning the Nations League would eclipse the achievement of achieving the 2018 World Cup semi-finals in Russia, says Captain Harry Kane. The Three Lions faced the Netherlands in June's Nations League last fall, with the winners then meeting either Portugal or Switzerland in the final. Now, he said to have a chance to win a trophy in an England shirt does not happen not very often. said Striker.
So it's when people have not won silverware before, they'll now start saying Community Shield is a trophy. My friends say now, but I mean, UEFA Nations League is just literally a glorified friendly tournament. They brought it so that people will not have meaningless friendlies. So they brought a new competition that is supposed to change that, and so now Europe has two trophies that the likelihood of you winning silverware as a nation now has even increased.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so England has qualified, Portugal I think is qualified, Switzerland has qualified, and so Harry Kane, there are just 4 countries now I think vying for the trophy, and so Harry Kane is saying if they win this one, it will be bigger than what they did in World Cup. Nothing is bigger than the World Cup. Nothing, Oga. Just calm down. This is substitute. In fact, this tournament is not even bigger than the Euros. Yeah, it's not.
That bad.
It's not. It's like I said. It was they created the UEFA Nations League so that you won't have meaningless friendlies.
Okay.
So let's just make it a little bit interesting. So instead of people now to be playing cards for people's meat on Sunday afternoon rice,
Yeah.
you now play cards for people's allowance.
No.
So that's
let's make the stake higher. And
so
make it a bit more
so
meaningful.
yeah, that's precisely what they did, and now it's nothing if we win it. My friend, this Community Shield, we are not going to clap for you. We may, but I know what you know what I mean.
So do they have a chance of winning?
Oh yes, they do have a great chance of winning, especially with the showing at the FIFA World Cup.
Okay.
It wasn't the prettiest football you ever made, but it was effective.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it takes to win. Sometimes the teams that win tournaments are not the teams that played the prettiest football. It's just the teams that managed their games as they went better than their opposition. And so England has as much chance as Portugal or Switzerland to win this tournament. So they're fine. They're really in a good place. They have a team that has strength in depth. Youth players are coming out every day, and that, when they first did that, let's invest in English footballers in the EPL. You must have a certain quota of English footballers on your team in your starting lineup.
Yes.
People were like, "Yeah, can you do that?" It's paying them now.
Of course.
It's paying them
Because it's about
homegrown.
structure.
Yes.
If you put the right structures in place, money will come.
Homegrown. They may not be the most talented footballers, but if you have them on the team, it is important for your own team. So it's working out for them. And so you see all players like Hudson Odoi getting called up, and people are shouting at Sarri for not. Why do I keep calling this guy Sarri Ball? His name is Mauricio Sarri, Tega. People yelling at Mauricio Sarri now that you're not playing Hudson Odoi. All of this is agenda. Our national team people must play.
Now, Yodele Okunfulani on Twitter is just suggesting something that could go that way. He's saying that women's football, Tega Supreme is right, the women's game is all about the packaging. Imagine Spain hosting the highest attendance, not USA, China or Norway. By the way, is Nigeria aware that South Africa is starting their women's football league later this year?
And are you aware that they've also bid they're one of the countries to bid to host World Cup.
Really?
Okay,
Yes.
we are here, and look, they have sponsorship for their team. They are, in fact, South Africa again. It's one of the reasons I say when it comes to creativity and the way their economy is, South Africa cannot really be termed Africa. There's a way they think that is different, and so they're packaging their
ideologies, I guess.
yeah. It's very, very European.
Forward thinking.
Very European.
Okay, let's.
I don't say forward thinking, I say European.
No, but we are
Yeah,
forward
you just
thinking.
We are all
in
forward
Nigeria,
thinking
so
in
we're all
Nigeria,
forward
but
thinking.
they are very European
Well,
in their own.
I'm not happy, even though today is International Day of Happiness.
You
I'm
should-
not
No,
You
you-
should be happy.
you-
You listen to the next story. So Everton and the Football Association say they are investigating this incident where an object was thrown towards a former Toffees player, Ross Berkeley, during the Premier League win over Chelsea on Sunday. Everton said in the statements, and I read, "We are investigating the alleged incident and reviewing footage. If anyone is found responsible for this or other such incidents, the club will take robust action." The incident came 2 days after the FA, the Premier League, and the EFL issued a joint statement on Friday asking supporters to carefully consider their behavior not only at this weekend's Premier League, EFL, and FA Cup matches, but at all games in the future. But it seems as though that warning fell on deaf ears.
Yes, look, it's fans, it's football, and it's not just football, it's local football. It's not, so it's not necessarily like here where you see fans of Chelsea did not really grow up in that part of
Yes.
London. So it's different. Those people are defending their turf. So Ross Barkley was an Everton player that they backed up with their life. Then he woke up one morning and said, "I don't want to play for Everton." In fact, he didn't just, it wasn't a subtle transfer request. It was a deliberate fighting, sulking, I want to move, let me go, let me out of here kind of move. And so the fans were bitter about it. Be that as it may, you have to conduct yourselves properly and you cannot put the security and the safety of players at risk. So you throwing a coin at him could injure him, and at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, it's just bad.
And it could be anything but a coin.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Thankfully, it was just a
you know,
coin.
so they're trying to stop all these things from getting in the stadium, but you can't tell people to keep their money outside. That's just it.
Yeah.
So the EFL has been saying has noticed it of recent that there's again an increase in fans doing certain things like running onto the pitch, and so it had stopped, it had reduced, and all of a sudden it's increasing again, and then they just don't want it. So they give this announcement, and a few days after, you throw this coin. So I think the consequences should be more than just pay a certain amount. I think lock up a particular part of the stadium.
No, but another thing that
Do that.
when they were having this conversation, another thing was also because the FA or the local authority has to be subject to the laws of the land. So if they don't make a provision for things like that, and it's just a slap on the wrist, then there's nothing they can.
No. It's still you're still tossing. It's laws of the land is not laws of football. Shut down the state. Look, just shut down that part of the stadium, and
They'll
they don't.
be sued.
No, they will not. They will not. It's FIFA. The FIFA football rules govern football. So if you're part of FIFA, it is FIFA rules you obey. It's not that. It's not. Yeah. And so they can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, this part of the stadium, they're doing certain things. We're going to lock it up. And you don't wake up in the morning and find English football on English TV live. It's not cheap. Those people will cry if they don't allow them to watch their football live. They will cry. So just do something that will touch them.
Yeah.
So lock up half of the stadium. Maybe the part where the fans seem to be a bit more rowdy.
Yeah.
Just leave for a week, not 2 weeks. Just one match. Everybody will readjust and behave themselves.
Okay, we'll go on a break right now and come back for the final stretch of the locker room this morning. Hopefully, we will be able to take one story or take just your comments before we call it a morning here with Tega.
What?
But they won't lock up now because they will be affected. Their money, they won't make money.
It doesn't matter. No, whether they will make money or they will not make, they're already making money. If it will not kill them. It is easier for them to lock up that part of the stadium. How much do you think ticket sales make? Ticket sales is spit for the money that they make in football. Ticket sales is spit. Ticket sales. That's not money now. That's probably what they use and sweep the stadium. Real money is the one that the advertisers put, and they have put it. And they have paid it. Then these ordinary add-ons are all those people that come, maybe always to have Women's Day in the Women's Month. So this match for the next 4 weeks they'll pump in money. But the major money is all the money that they pay for the season.
Yes.
That's it. Ticket sales is split.
Wow, they're making
Football, they're making stupid money.
Money that should not be legal.
Which is why when they decided to do this UEFA Nations League, it made logical sense that cut off in Natasha. But at the end of the day, those people are there.
They make money. Tega, say hi to your people that are watching on YouTube.
I'm not around. I travel. I want to go to Bahrain. Who's going to pay for my way to Bahrain?
Wonderful.
I want to go to Bahrain next weekend.
Oh, no, only next weekend. If you had said this weekend, then I could help out. But next weekend is too far.
See your eye.
Next weekend is too far. I don't do things like that.
That's
It's an insult on my money. That I have to be saving money for.
Yeah,
Free.
on Tuesday.
What's happening in Bahrain?
F1 Grand Prix.
Oh, really? And they should have sponsors in Nigeria now.
If they are, I haven't seen them.
Oh. All these alcoholic beverage companies, they usually do them.
Yeah, they go, but I don't see them sponsoring. Like BAT will not. They don't do advert now. Do you understand?
But they'll sponsor people.
Yeah,
Okay, well, because you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
But you can talk about it on social media.
I have not even seen them before. So what I'm going to, I planned it all, but if I tell you what I did yesterday, people will be shocked.
Why?
So I came here and I walked right into something that now may put that my trip in jeopardy. Except something happens before the end of the week.
I know, I hope you travel. You deserve it. You
Yes,
are deserving of it.
Yes, sir. 1 week of constant power supply.
Okay, guys, mics are going up now.
To get used to the speed or traffic before trying to overtake. Failure to observe this rule may lead to multiple accidents.
And this is Lagos here in the locker room with Tega.
And Ayo and Valentine.
And that's how I was going to say part of Swim Breakfast, but yeah, introduce all of us. It's a good day.
It's International Day of Happiness. We're happy, though most of the stories, or well, some of the stories in the locker room will make you think about how we can move sports forward in Nigeria. Let's look at more of your messages. We have this one on Twitter. So Twitter, okay, yes.
No, Big T's message hasn't. We have Big T on WhatsApp.
All right. Yeah. So Big T here says international Tega. As you get fans for Ghana, the FA treatment of our ladies in football is horrible. The football has gone down. We are struggling in Africa now, and globally we are nowhere. What is the red berry guy doing at the sports ministry?
Let's not look. This is the first time they've arranged the amount of friendlies that they've arranged so far. So let's just applaud that a little, and maybe that will improve the fate of women's football. Yes. But yes, they need to do more. I mean, looking at the counterparts, what they're doing, what various countries are doing in South Africa, in England, in Spain, those are things you need to look at and say those are the people you aspire to. And so I first of all, before I start to talk about the sports minister, I have to talk to the NFF first, because they are the body in charge of football. So this year they've managed to arrange a few more friendlies than they normally would. We applaud that, but we want to see a structure, we want to see a calendar, we want to see a system. What they did in England is really interesting. So every pre-match, they had like a calendar, and they said, they called it the something trip series to the World Cup. So they made it like a reality series, and everybody's buying into it. Be creative like that.
So we want to see more creativity with regards to women in sports, and this is coming from the woman who is the founder of Ladies in Sports. You can find her at LIS International for all the work that she's doing with women in sports. And also personally, you can follow her at Tega Supreme. She'll keep you very informed and entertained particularly when there's a sport going on, honestly. And then you can be a part of us. Please stay tuned at Smooth 981 FM on Twitter and all social media handles. We're still here, Valentine and I, as we...
Yeah, you say aye.
As we beat Tega farewell until Friday. Lagos, we're still